here, sitting there leaving Cert in June 2026. We've talked about the blood vessels, the arteries, veins, capillaries, venules and arterioles. Now it's time to talk about the blood. So the blood is broken down into different components. We have red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets and plasma. So let's make sure that we understand what all of the roles of all of these actually are. So we're going to start off with red blood cells. Red blood cells are responsible for carrying oxygen to cells in the body that need it for cellular respiration. So red blood cells contain a red pigment called hemoglobin. The hemoglobin allows a bond with oxygen to form, which enables the red blood cell to transport oxygen to the cells in the body that need it. And then when it gets to the location, the oxygen can diffuse to where it needs to go. Now, red blood cells are adapted. They have no nucleus at maturity. So they are the only cell in the human body at maturity that has no nucleus. And that's to make more room for more oxygen to bind onto the hemoglobin. And they also have a biconcave shape, like a biconcave disc. Again, allowing more surface area for hemoglobin. Now, red blood cells are half of our blood by volume. Now, what's less than 1% of our blood is our white blood cells. White blood cells are responsible for fighting infections. So white blood cells do have a definite nucleus. We can have different types of white blood cells. Phagocytes, which surround and engulf pathogens by phagocytosis. We can have our B cells that are going to produce antibodies directly. And then we can have macrophages, T cells, which you would have saw all different types of white blood cells. They are responsible for fighting infection, and they are going to make up than less than 1% of our blood by volume. Then we have platelets. Now, platelets are actually just small fragments of cells, so they don't have a nucleus. They're responsible for clotting the blood if we get a cut, which has two purposes. It obviously prevents us losing too much blood, and also prevents pathogens gaining entry into our body. So it contains clotting proteins that will clot the blood. People that are hemophiliac can lack these clotting proteins. And finally, we have the liquid part of our blood, which is the plasma, which is a straw yellow or a pale yellow colour. And it contains the red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, antibodies, proteins, glucose, carbon dioxide, urea, oxygen. It contains all of the substances. It allows the blood to flow. It's the liquid part of the blood, and it makes up about 50% of the blood's volume. So we have our red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets and plasma, and they make up the different components of the blood. If we remove the clotting proteins from the plasma, what we are left with is called serum. So make sure you know the different components of the blood before you go on and do the circulatory system chapter, and make sure you know what all of the cells look like. And remember, platelets are small fragments of cells, so they do not have a nucleus.